Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Hope you had a great weekend. Okay, it's a Monday, hit the ground running. Been a lot of holidays. Everybody's well refreshed. Let's start off this week then with the politics of, politics, is that the way to put it, of Kano State? Perhaps. I'm referring specifically here to the intention of the administration in Kano to probe previous administrations in the state. And the APC chairman in Kano, Alhaji Abdullahi Abbas, has actually called on Governor Abba Yusuf not to limit his intended probe of past administrations to the immediate past one. So let's talk about this. And our guest this morning is Honorable David Ogbole. Honorable David Ogbole is the commentator and analyst of public affairs. Good morning. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you very much, Folarin. I've always admired you from afar. It's an honor to be in the studio with you today.
Oh, you're too kind, sir. Thank you very much. My name is Yori Folari. So you feel free, please, to call me Yori.
Thank you.
Okay. So first of all, give me your overview of the situation. Usually, you don't have administrations, especially early ones, talking about probing their immediate past administration. But that doesn't mean very much. So give me the impression that you have about how this administration is going in Kano State.
Thank you very much. As far as the Kano State situation is concerned, there is a worrisome, toxic and injurious trajectory that the current governor, Abbas Yusuf, is towing, that we have become concerned about, and we are joining all people who are development-minded to condemn and to also ask him to retrace his steps.
So from the very first sentence, you've signaled that there is more to this probe than meets the eye.
Of course.
Talk to me about that.
For a governor that came out of a turbulent election and his victory was decided by the Supreme Court, he won just by the skin of his teeth. We are of the opinion that his first assignment on hitting the ground is to be able to see to it that bridges are built such that a polarized Kano is now united. Okay. And all of the political wounds resulting from the election are also healed. But instead of doing that, he has adopted an injurious situation where he is driving forward while looking backward. I know of a woman that on a broad daylight, beautiful morning in Lagos, she came out of her house and then she was driving. She collided with a vehicle, no traffic. But she was truthful enough to admit that she was running late. So she decided to be doing her makeup, looking at the rearview mirror while she was driving forward. Of course, that resulted in that accident. So this is a recipe for political and governance accident if a person hits the ground moving forward while he is looking backward. Looking backward in the sense of instituting two judicial commissions to probe the past government of His Excellency Umar Ganduje as governor of Kano State. So that's the
one of the things that I can clear might help the viewers. You've started and you've used the pronoun we. What we see, what we are calling on. So who is that we? Because I introduced you as a public affairs analyst.
Beautiful. We is, I'm speaking on behalf, like I said, of development-minded Nigerians who believe that every government in question should be an improvement on the previous. They should build on the successes of the previous. And I also speak as somebody who has, gone through the social life of Kano as an individual living in Sabungari. So I have integrated within the Hausa community. I speak Hausa very well. And I'm concerned about the development of Kano State. That is why I mentioned the word we. And we in the sense that the collectivity of we as Nigerians must be emphasized in every new climb of governance. Because an injury done to one side of Nigeria is an injury done to all. We are a collective body, just one body as a nation. So we must be concerned about what happens in any sector of the same body. That's the essence of the word we.
As you said, it's been quite turbulent politically in Kano. In fact, the incumbent governor now, thank God for the Supreme Court, he might well not have been in office, because that was not the way things were before, talking about Governor Abba Yusuf. So that turbulence one understands, and also the turbulence between the chairman of his party and, the chairman of the ruling APC, the nationally ruling APC, is also in there. But do you think that this is being brought to bear? Because they will say that these are neutral indices. If they were not, if they didn't have the merit, the Supreme Court wouldn't have given them the position that they have. To now impute into that ulterior motives when they say they now want to begin to look at what has happened in the past. And besides, there are those probably who will be saying that, well, there might be a bit of a pot calling a kettle black in all of this. Go explore all that whole area, if you will.
He is the only governor in Nigeria that in the post-election litigations was sacked by the two lower courts. It took the magnanimity, let me use that word, and I don't want to explain further, of the Supreme Court to grant him victory.
No. The word is a very difficult word to use in the present context. The Supreme Court does not deal in magnanimity. You see, it deals in facts of law.
Yes, they deal in fact. Man makes the law. The law was not made for man. Therefore, in sane climes that Nigeria is becoming, justice is usually a very dynamic issue. It's a fluid issue, yes, in the sense that there are situations where justice is given not for the immediate situation, but for a greater good of a particular people or community. Because to give justice to a small quarter at the expense of a national interest is something that does not spell wisdom at all.
But my worry is that every primary school student will probably know of the law that the Supreme Court operates on the principle of merit.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
So if the Supreme Court put the governor in there, it must have looked at it from a position of law and decided that Abba Yusuf has merit.
The Supreme Court has given him judgment. So we shouldn't be looking backwards, like I said. It is to move forward. So we are talking about the issues of moving forward now. Okay. We are not bringing to question the validity of the Supreme Court judgment.
Apart from when you use the word magnanimity.
Yeah. That is why I begged not to be asked to explain that matter further.
Okay, since we've agreed on that, let's deal with the principle of merit.
The principle of merit. So he is the governor
by merit, according to the Supreme Court.
According to the Supreme Court.
Exactly.
That upturned the verdicts of the two lower courts.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So now where, in your considered view, is the danger here, if indeed there is anything like that?
Yes, we believe that whatever intention a governor takes or has must be proven to be holistic and in the interest of a larger good of the people that he has been elected to govern.
In this case, the people of Kano State.
In this case, the people of Kano State. So the point actually is that to show the transparency of these probe actions that he has embarked upon, number one, the constitution of the judicial commissions themselves is the first port of call. Okay. In the sense that, how do we expect transparency when a major bulk of the movers and influencers that have been appointed into this judicial commission are members of the NNPP? So that will be a case of a cockroach coming before judgment at the table of hens. There is no way a cockroach can find justice when the hen is the head of the commission. So we are questioning the composition, first of all. So to show transparency, there should be neutrality in the composition. That's the first one. And then number two, to also show some holistic intentions to do the right thing, we are advising that he extends the probe net beyond just the previous administration to other administrations before His Excellency Umar Abdullahi Ganduje. For instance, Kwankwaso, his benefactor, Engineer Rabiu Kwankwaso, was governor of Kano State from 1999 to 2003. He also came back again after a stint at the national level, to be governor 2011 to 2015. And under the government of Kwankwaso, the current governor, Abbas Yusuf, was commissioner for works, housing, and transport. So, as commissioner for works, housing, and transport, he is privy to all that happened within this administration. For him to be holistic, for him to be transparent, he should extend the probe. But there is one thing.
And where it is important,
he will not dare to extend the probe.
You just mentioned that he was commissioner for works, and a major road, is a key part of all of this. That
will implicate both him and his benefactor, in the sense that under his watch. Okay, let me spell out. The three mandates of the Judicial Committee was, number one, misappropriation of public properties. Number two, political violence. And number three, missing persons. Okay, to talk about misappropriation of political government or public properties, under his watch as commissioner for works, housing, and transport, a bulk of houses and public properties were sold or given as gifts to families and friends right under his watch.
That is so the chairman Kwankwaso.
No, I'm talking about the present governor.
Okay.
He was commissioner for works, housing, and transport under Kwankwaso when these atrocities were committed.
Okay, when Kwankwaso was governor.
Yes, when Kwankwaso was governor. He was commissioner under Kwankwaso. So, to extend the probe backwards will justify, it will present a transparent ground for him to be able to look forward. So, if at all you decide to look back, please look back further enough so that we can be able to see the sincerity of your intentions. And then you are talking about road. Under the administration of Kwankwaso, 5-kilometer roads were awarded to the 44 local governments of Kano State. And all of them, funds were allocated to it. But the execution of those roads is something we never saw. They are still in question till today. So what happened to those ones? In case he is blinded by loyalty and he cannot see the reason or the facts under Kwankwaso administration that were around the extension of the probe there, we are willing to help him with facts. That is one of it. And then number two, Kwankwaso's presidential campaign in Lagos. Every of the local governments in Kano State, 44 specifically, were mandated to donate 700 million each. That amounted to billions of naira. These are public resources that a man has used to build a red cap militia, that is bamboozling and bullying everybody into political offices today. All of those matters should be brought to bear. A searchlight should be thrown on them.
This release sheds light on your statement of needing to be more. You quite frankly, you don't look at the. You don't see that this is going to be an unbiased exercise.
Beautiful. That's our concern.
Okay, that's your concern. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling.
Good morning to your guests.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, it's not today we knew that Governor Abba Yusuf didn't come for governance. He came for vengeance. Remember, from day one, he started demolishing the structures built by his predecessor. I wonder why he did not go to the multi-level bridges at the roundabout that Ganduje did to demolish it. And this is a governor that, going by what the law says, he shouldn't even be a governor, if not for the generosity of the Supreme Court. How do you get votes with ballot papers that are not valid? That one is not as serious as the one in Bayelsa that was cancelled as a governor. And he is here, trying to probe another person. What kind of probe is this one that is so specific on one person? And by the way, the nature of the offense is not that which a governor can probe. It is that which the EFCC alone can probe as a crime. Has he done that? And like his party or the APC party is saying, let him extend it to the previous administration before Ganduje and see whether he himself will not get indicted. We should look at issues in a way to show that you have come to work, not to come and victimize people. I wasn't particularly happy when the Supreme Court gave him that judgment. I called this program and I expressed my view But from the look of things, I thought with that judgment, he would turn a new leaf. But see what is he doing? For 11 months or 10, 11 months now, most political watchers have not seen any significant governance delivery in Kano State. When other people like Peter Mba, Alex Oti, the Lagos and all the rest, they are showing results already. He is showing witch hunting. I don't understand this kind of politics in Kano. It's very sad. If I were Ganduje, I would go to court and quash this thing and ask the court to force him to extend the probe, even if he's qualified to probe him.
Okay.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. I see that you were agreeing with a lot that was being said.
Yes, I was agreeing because the moment he hit the ground, very viable economic structures on ground, Daula Hotel, even a mosque, shops of people were demolished. And when we took a probe into it, we discovered that there were properties belonging to his perceived political enemies. So that's nothing but witch hunting, that's vendetta. That's why I used the word injurious, at the beginning. In an already strained, economically strained Kano, we are of the opinion that as he hits the ground, like I said earlier, after he unites the polarized Kano that came out of that turbulent election, and he makes a move to heal the political wounds, he should now begin to cushion the economic hardships of the people of Kano. Rather, he is adding to it. So, for you to demolish a mosque, for you to demolish structures, you are, stoking some economic and religious fires within Kano, which will not help your administration to grow.
Okay.
So those are the issues that we're concerned about.
Reverend Dominic, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chief Yori. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Good morning to your guest.
Yes.
I beg to differ, Chief Yori, from your guest and my friend George. Yori is good in office, and the governor is doing well. You know the reason? He's laying a right precedent. He's probing somebody from now to 4 years to 8 years. He will leave office. Somebody will probe him. We must have accountability in our office. I guess Mr. President Tinubu agree with me. Look at what is happening in CBN. Look at what is happening in Ministry of Gubernatorial Affairs. Can we close our eyes to this kind of billions we have thrown away? And that's why there's no progress in Nigeria. Yori, the man left office in America is going around to the Trump in all courts. Jacob Zuma has gone to prison. It is time we begin to probe our government. When you do that, you will sit right. So that after your own stewardship, somebody will probe you. We must look back. Our nation is not that right in accountability. I'm not supporting the man in Kano. I know there's some witch hunt what he's doing. But I'm trying to say you want to turn governance around in Nigeria for accountability. For accountability. I told Mr. President, I begged him, he should also open the book of NNPC. If we open the book of NNPC in Nigeria, the crowd will change. We must find a way for accountability. That's what I'm trying to say. The man, what he's doing in Kano is good. After he probed his last government, somebody will probe him tomorrow. So maybe somebody wants to probe him tomorrow, we'll say why? Because I probed somebody. There must be accountability. My Bible says Jesus gave his disciples, a king gave disciples some money for investment. He came back for accountability. Without accountability, there's no good governance. Whether he's doing wrongly or rightly, what I'm trying to say is that it is good. After he probed this government, and that person probed him. That is right. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you, Reverend, for calling in. Now, I think
let me react. Let me react to
what he's saying. He said he's not necessarily supporting one or the other, but that the principle of accountability is why he's disagreeing.
It must never appear that we are against the judicial commissions that have been set up by Abbas Yusuf to probe, his predecessor. We are not against that. The crux of this is to say, extend your probe backward enough.
Extend it.
Don't be particular on a person. So your particularity is what is giving the suspicion that you are out on a vendetta. You have served under a government that also governed Kano. If you will be holistic at all, why don't you extend the net of the probe backward enough?
To the administration he served in previously.
So, Reverend Dominic, it is a good thing to probe, but it is a better thing to probe holistically. So better is an advancement of good. So it's a better thing to go backward enough so that your probe can be holistic. You cannot begin to talk about the fortunes of Kano, all premised on the previous administration, when Kano, especially the return to democracy, has had, consistent, turnover of power from 1999 to date. So why don't you extend backwards? We're not even saying go back to 1999. Just go back to 2011 to 2015 also. It will give you a beautiful spectrum or holistic view of the affairs of Kano in terms of the financial and the economic also, so that your probe can be more incisive and the results can be more beneficial. So go backward enough. That's all we're saying.
All right.
We're not saying don't probe. We're simply saying probe well.
Now, is there any opportunity, as someone has suggested, to seek to not quash the whole thing because of fear or anything, but based on these things that you are talking about, that, need these probes really stand? Is there any room? Is there any room for that? But before we go there, somebody called in from Abuja, but I didn't hear.
Okay.
Stephen in Abuja. Good morning to you, Stephen.
Good morning, Uncle Yuri.
Good morning, sir. Please go ahead. Go ahead. You're on air now.
All right. Good morning, Honorable Pastor David Wale, who happens to be one of my mentors in Benue State then. It's a good program this morning, and the topic is quite excelling. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, all right. I think I stand with what the public analyst is saying over there, and out of Reverend Dominic's conceptual analysis, he seems not to understand where he's coming from, but I think I better to stand with him, and it's clear enough he has explained to Reverend Dominic. But let me say this. One of the principal problems we're having in Nigeria today, I'm generalizing right now in Nigeria. Politics is not a matter of division. Politics should be a matter of dialogue, communication, information, promotion, and extending dividends of democracy. By the time the governors and senators, reps, begin to see themselves that, look, we are coming together for a common cause, development, progress, sustainability, and then security. The issue of Kano, just my advice, what I want to bring into this beer now, there are a few states in Nigeria. If anything goes wrong in one of those states, Nigeria will go down. Kano is one of them. And we must not jeopardize that state based on political differences to affect development. If you go to the south, Port Harcourt is one of them. You can see the turbulence politically that is going on. It's going to affect Nigeria. So what am I saying? Standing with the public analyst over there, if you want to extend, the major point I picked from Pastor Honorable David there is this. You might be distracted looking backward instead of going forward. So that is very key for Abba Yusuf, His Excellency. So my take is this. Let these governors, not just Kano State, the whole governors, look forward. Drop whatever you have. Being in power, it is gift from God. It is power from God, not power from men. So let these governors put themselves together, just like His Excellency but the President of the Federation has called all the governors and said, look, come, work together, come as unit, be unified as a governor, as a team, and change the narrative of poverty in the country. So let these governors come together, forget what has happened, let them look forward and be futuristic so that Nigeria will be a better place for all. Thank you, and God bless your analyst in the studio. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you very much, Stephen, for that particular contribution. In other words, he's looking for a path that is really non-partisan, that focuses on the principles of development. Now, how much room for that do you see in Kano. And I'm delighted that Stephen generalized it. He even took it away from Kano and was speaking of, quite frankly, states where you can't afford, to have upheavals and crisis in there. How much room do you think exists for his classic position?
You see, upon emergence...
Because it's about dialogue, it's about not being bitter,
You see, it's important to note that by the time the dust settled down, as far as the Supreme Court matter was concerned, and the 165,000 votes, were restored back to Abbas Yusuf, he came up with a total vote of 1,019,000, votes, as against Gauna of the APC with 890,000 votes. So the margin between them was 123,000. So if those 165,000 votes were not restored by the Supreme Court, Abbas Yusuf will not be governor today.
He will not be governor today. Can I hold you there, please? Because I'm going to bring you back to it. I don't want to lose Edmund, who has called in from Enugu. Good morning, Edmund.
Hey, Mr. Yorin, good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
Thank you. Yes, I want to participate in the discussion going on right now.
Sure, go ahead.
Let me first of all commend your guest. Comment your guest for all he's been saying about what is happening in Kano. As a matter of fact, your guest did say that it was as a result of generosity of the Supreme Court that Abba Yusuf is now the governor. I quite agree with him. Mr. George said that it was as a result of I've forgotten the exact word he used.
I think one used magnanimity, the other used generosity.
Stephen used generosity, I used magnanimity. Yeah, same word, same point.
Magnanimity. Let me add to the two phrases the two speakers used. Let me say benevolence of the Supreme Court. Benevolence of the Supreme Court. As a matter of fact, this is the judgment that I've never agreed with Supreme Court. Supreme Court couldn't have done that, but for the exigency of the volatility of Kano, that was why Supreme Court had to do what they did. But that shouldn't serve as a precedent for other litigations in future political contestations. Secondly, I don't want to use the word excellency for the governor because there's something excellent in him. There's something excellent in him. That phrase, excellency, we should know how we use that.
Well, it's a courtesy. It's a courtesy, isn't it?
Yeah, no. It doesn't matter. That thing is already blowing their head. Excellency, as if nothing bad can come out of them. Anyway, that's by the way. Yes, anyway, the governor of Kano State should tread carefully. He should tread carefully. He's on a mission of vendetta and not mission of governance. And the Kwankwaso himself should be very careful if he has that ambition of becoming president of this country. With the way he's going on Kano issue, it may boomerang. I'm not a fan of Ganduje. I'm not a fan of his, but what the current governor is doing in Kano State should be condemned. If he's interested in probing, there's something wrong in probing past administrations. But let him start from where? From the man that made it possible for him to be the governor today.
All right then.
Ganduje.
Thank you very much, Stephen. At this point, so that there are fewer interruptions, just hold the point you wanted to make. I'll go on a quick break, be right back, and then you will not be interrupted. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV station of the year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Welcome back. And before I go any further, so I don't forget, did I get it right? Did you say Chukwu Uwandu is on the line? Is that what you... Is Chukwu Uwandu on the line?
Yeah, Chukwu on the line.
Okay. What's your name?
Chukwu.
Okay, go right ahead. I didn't hear it. You slurred it, but welcome.
My name is Chukwu.
Okay, Chukwu. Okay.
I'm calling from Abakaliki in Ebonyi State.
Okay, then. Go ahead quickly, please. Go ahead, please.
Okay. My point is this. My point is this. In this case, there must be a starting point. There is nothing wrong about probing a past administration, and you don't expect him to go and jump to start with Kwankwaso. He must start with his immediate predecessor, then before going to Kwankwaso. And he mustn't model up the whole thing. He must start from somewhere. Which is that the analysts have interest. When you are biased, you must not see anything good about what someone is doing, because already you have interest. And since you have interest, you don't supposed to be a judge in your own case. You are talking about demolition will inflict more hardship. What of the demolition going on in Lagos State? Is it not inflicting hardship? You are talking about probing that you don't supposed to probe, that the Minister President. What of the probing in the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and the probing in the CBS? So there must be probing for good governance. When you probe somebody, the next person that will succeed will probe you. When you know that you must stick and rule according to the Constitution. You mustn't be taking away something that doesn't belong to you, or taking away public funds.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in, Chukwu. Points taken. Added to it. Yes.
So let's continue with the discussion.
Yes. I interrupted you before we went on break. And Chukwu came in.
Okay. I was trying to draw an inference from the statistics of the election, the 2023 election in Kano State. But let me rewind a little bit. The total votes he scored when the 165,000 votes were restored to him was 1,019,000 votes, as against Gauna Idris, who scored 890,000 votes. Like I said earlier, if the 165,000 was not restored back to him, he will not be governor today. So, from the slightly over 5 million people in Kano that registered to vote, we had like a 43% turnout. So that left the entire thing around slightly just over 2 million of the people that voted. And if close to 1 million voted APC, and then 1 million plus voted you can see how polarized Kano is now. So, the moment you became governor, your party became irrelevant, and governance should take center stage, and politics should begin to fade backwards. But to embark on this mission is a sign that you are not letting go of the fights and the fireworks of politics. Politics is still continuing almost a year after your election or your assumption of office, instead of governance taking center stage. These are our concerns.
Okay, governance and development.
Governance and development, governance and its attendant development should take center stage. Politics should begin to take backstage.
Okay, that's the point.
So that's the point we are making. So that leaves a lot of the people on ground who are enthusiasts and followers and members of one other political party or the other to say, oh, so is politics still going on? So let's still hold our swords under the emblem of APC, PDP, NNPP, and so on. So the swords are still up. The swords should have been shifted by now, and then everybody united, in a cohesive work unit to move Kano forward.
What, in your opinion, is responsible for this? Because it's such a logical position.
Yeah.
I would be very, very surprised if His Excellency Governor Abba Yusuf was not aware the rightness of your position. So the next thing to think about is, look, loyalty to, whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong. It has been discussed frequently. Godfatherism, for lack of a better word, is sort of a necessary, it's necessary in Nigerian politics. To what extent do you think that is playing into this? Because the Governor Abbas on his own, any governor on his own might see it one particular way. But is there the further complication of godfathers sort of factoring in to the very, very delicate equations on the ground?
You see, extend it beyond politics. In every endeavor of life, after God the Father, you need godfathers. Because men are always the platform and method by which a new generation can be raised so that there can be continuity of any good that is happening in society. So, godfathers are needed in every sphere.
Okay.
If you're a preacher, you need a pastor over you. If you're an imam, you need a senior imam over you. If you're a general, there should be an ex-general who is mentoring you. So godfatherism is a necessary indices as far as the equation of success and progress is concerned.
So it's not an evil the way some people make it?
It's not an evil. The machinery of godfatherism is puritanical. It's not an evil thing. It is the drivers of that machinery per time that can be good or evil. Just like money does not have a conscience. It takes on the conscience of the person holding it per time. So, godfatherism, like I said, is an essential thing. But there are two kinds of godfathers, the mentors and the tormentors. Who are the mentors? They are the ones who have foresight, they have vision, they are people-oriented, they are community and society-oriented, and they develop people to be able to, follow a positive trajectory and build on the foundations that they have laid for common good. So those are mentors.
Are godfathers that play in Kano?
Then the tormentors are the toxic godfathers who use their proteges, to build castles for themselves, to build a name for themselves. So when you come to the Kano factor, you will see the clear hand. It's not even a hidden hand. People had a proverb that when you see an insect dancing on top of the water, somebody beneath is playing the drums. In this case, the drums are open and the hands playing them are open. And who is the drummer playing this drum? The benefactor of Abbas Yusuf, in the person of Engineer Rabiu Kwankwaso. He has come out, time without number, to criticize this current administration and then to call. He is the one who is reading out the manifesto for the governor. So we wonder, who is the governor? Is Abbas Yusuf's tenure Kwankwaso's third term, or Abbas Yusuf is the governor of Kano State? Those are the things we are wondering. So the influence of this godfather, which we are seeing to be a toxic one, he is a tormentor instead of a mentor, is playing very, very obviously as far as Kano politics is concerned. Okay,
let me hold that for a while. We might want to return to it or not. But Peter in Edo State has called in. Good morning, Peter.
Yes, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yes, okay. I would love to make my own contribution to this wonderful topic that is being discussed this morning on your program.
Yes, you're very welcome. Go ahead.
Okay. You see, the issue on ground is very vital to the development of this country, and it is one of the bane of progress in this country. What your guest is trying to say indirectly is that Nigeria is a farm where everybody come and take their own as they so wish. And once the person leaves, nobody should bother about what he or she has done. You should just go. Come and take your own share and go. And that is not how a country develops. That has been the issue with Nigeria. When a governor or leaves office and a president wants to look into the books, he starts to shout. Why? The so person did it. No, we should be looking for accountability. We saw some of the things that Ganduje did in Kano, how he stuffed dollar into his pocket. I'm not going to go into that. But the issue is that we shouldn't pet the country or the notion that Nigeria is a national farm. So it's a national thing. Everybody comes, cuts his cake without accountability and goes like that. Then the next person comes, he's supposed to close his eyes to what he's done before and continue taking his own cake. No. So in that case now, you are telling the current governor now, Sani, to also take his own share of the cake and leave. That nobody will probably to him. So to me, I don't think that is how a country should be run. That's not nice.
So wait a minute. Let me get you clear, Peter, if I may. Are you for the probe or not?
I am for the probe.
You are for the probe.
Yes. And hand is clean.
And for it to be extended further backwards in order to be seen as more equitable.
Well, Ganduje was there before Sami. Why did he bother to do the probe of his predecessor before that?
Okay.
So if this governor has come now and said, okay, I want to probe this first, then fine, let him start. Because it depends on him. He's the one doing the probe. So he sets the gates of the probe, the scope of the probe. But the bottom line is that we shouldn't have that perception that Nigeria is a farm, or is a national thing, that anybody comes and takes his own share.
All right.
That fear of accountability. And that is what...
Okay. Well, there you have it.
Thank you very much, Peter. Let me just quickly correct a notion. The metaphor you use is not an appropriate metaphor of Nigeria being a farm and people come, take their share and go. I see Nigeria rather as a tree planted, and each successive administration should water and manure, not cut branches and go. Let's have a contributory approach to Nigeria. Let's have an investor's approach to Nigeria, not a consumer's approach that comes to take and go, but comes to plant or to water what has been planted before. Okay, that having said that, we are emphasizing that if you see in this matter of the probe, there is no move so far by Abdullahi Ganduje to thwart this probe. If there are moves, he is now filing a motion in this court to stop the probe and so on, you would have suspected that he has a lot to hide. When you talk about the case of the dollar, like somebody said earlier, those are matters that the Attorney General of the Federation and EFCC has the jurisdiction to be able to handle. As I speak to you right now, in 2 days' time, which is 17th of this April, the matter is coming up in the High Court. So he has not made any move at all to quash, to thwart, or to even slow down this matter as a sign that he is open, to being probed. So we are simply saying, if somebody is open to being probed, we are not on a crusade to say, Abba, don't probe. Our crusade is simply saying, Abba, if you will probe, please probe long enough. Here he mentioned something. When Ganduje came, Ganduje did not make any move to probe Kwankwaso, who was his predecessor, because he believed that having taken the reins of control or the reins of power or leadership in Kano, he should be driving forward and not looking backward. So we are simply saying, if experienced people like this have laid a precedence, the young Abba Yusuf should not display political exuberance or delayed adolescence in trying to look back. Go forward. That is what we are saying. But if you will look back at all, please look back far enough so you can see well to be able to probe. And that's all our point.
And, that was why I was wondering the part that you thought godfathers, because clearly Kwankwaso is the godfather of Governor Abba Yusuf. That is clear. So it really it goes above him, if you want. It goes really above him.
Above Yusuf, yes.
Yes, sort of above his head. You've got to have the, people like Kwankwaso himself on the same page with progress and development in Kano State. Now, clearly, from Kwankwaso's point of view, this is progress and development. He has always put his own side of the story next to the Ganduje story, as you know. He's never been on all fours with him. So this is why, and people have warned that you have to be very, very careful about Kano. You have to be very, very careful. There are states, every state is important, but then there are states where if you rock the boat unnecessarily, the ripples might, expand far beyond the very confines of Kano. So what room do we have? What other ideas beyond what you are doing now? Calling on common sense to prevail. Common sense and political sense don't often coincide.
2 things quickly. Kwankwaso, as the leader of NNPP, is grappling with a lot of issues within his party right now. The matter of parallel conventions that happened recently, where the national leaders were elected, I think somebody who is coming up to fix a city should be able to, number one, show us an example by fixing his own house first. If you fence your house, then we can have the trust in you that you can fence, our village. So, if an imbroglio is on within NNPP, 2 conventions held, 2 parallel, leadership emerged. One is summoning Abba Yusuf now to say, why did he identify with those so-and-so convention, where they had said at the national working level of NNPP that it was illegal for him to identify with a particular convention. So we're simply saying, whatever is happening within NNPP, which is the division and the chaos, Kwankwaso should not engineer Abba to carry on that into the politics of Kano.
Okay.
That is all we are saying. Be a good mentor. Be a positive, development-minded leader, that you order the step of your younger ones in the right direction. I will leave it. I will just drop a thought here that if you feel that we can expand on, we should expand on. If there should be a university at all for godfatherism in Nigeria, I think one man qualifies to be appointed unanimously as the chancellor of that university. I'm talking of no other person but His Excellency Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, GCFR. And I have my reasons for saying that.
Okay.
He had the same privileges Kwankwaso had in 1999 to govern Lagos State. And then, number one, he became a beautiful judge of talents. He brought young people under his wings, mentored them. Beyond indigenship of Lagos State, they were indigents of other southwestern states, but he brought them magnanimously, selflessly, sacrificially. He tutored them. And all the people he tutored have become either political giants or notable technocrats in business today who are contributing meaningfully to the economy of Nigeria in various spheres. He raised a beautiful vice president of Nigeria. Various ministers have come from under him. And today, he is president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You can see, number one, he has foresight.
At the time,
he judges good
for the
talents.
benefit of Lagos State.
Beautiful.
At the time.
So, I am saying this because
the interest of Lagos State
vis-a-vis,
at the time,
Kwankwaso has the ambition to lead Nigeria. Just like his mate, 1999, as governor of Lagos State, had ambition to lead Nigeria. This is the kind of trajectory you follow, to be able to lay a track record of transparency and fairness.
Let me apologize and thank Daniel in Oshogbo, who has held on for quite a long time. Good morning to you. Thank you for holding on. Daniel?
Yes.
Daniel in Oshogbo. Go ahead now, please. Go ahead, please.
Hello.
Go ahead now, Daniel.
Our problem here is the question of immunity. The immunity that government and president are doing.
Okay. Is that what you wanted to say, Daniel?
I have not concluded.
Oh, yeah, please. Go ahead. Quickly.
There must be the legislature to be able to review the issue of immunity that they are enjoying. If they are there and they commit crime, the crime of stealing public funds, they should be prosecuted. It should be possible to try them.
Okay, I get the point you are making. I really get the point you are making. Thank you very much for calling in. And yes, he was talking about immunity, and of course there are implications in what he said vis-a-vis.
Let's go on with our thoughts.
Yes, but very, very briefly, because we've used up all our time. It's one of those kind of dynamic subjects. And have you noticed something interesting? Not a single person has called in from Kano State. It's sort of curious, isn't it? You know, people have called in from all over the place, but please continue. I would have thought that we'd get a deluge of calls from Kano State.
Yeah, I was thinking as well, because nobody has been disenfranchised as far as the technological reach of TVC is concerned. So there are viewers from Kano right now. There are viewers from all over the world.
That's right.
Because of the reach of TVC.
Yes.
So whoever calls or whoever does not call, I think we should leave their sentiments to them.
In them.
Yeah.
Okay, so in conclusion now, you've made the point very clearly that you as an analyst, as a commentator, indeed, as a non-member of NNPP, are not against the principle of probe. That's not what you're saying. You are saying that that probe should be seen to be fair. Let equity be brought to bear. Let's go far enough back to include those that need to be included if this is not to be seen as a witch hunt.
That is the objective. Everything we've been saying in various words boils down to this same matter. And for Abba Yusuf to show transparency, to show the holistic intentions of governing a united Kano, prospering the fortunes of Kano, he should simply go back long enough. And if he goes back long enough and he finds anybody, even his benefactor, and even himself under his watch as Commissioner for Works,
let them face
housing, let them be able to face this matter. We are simply saying the last 8 years enough. It's not enough to establish the matters of the fortunes of Kano going forward.
Okay.
So he should be able to look backward. Governance is a continuum. One administration leaves, and the other comes and continues with the liabilities and assets of government. Go back long enough and then ensure that your probe is holistic and of good intention. Not a witch hunt, not a vendetta.
Thank you very much, Honorable Pastor David Ogbole. Thank you very much. It's been you've put across these points, very articulately, and everybody understands what we're talking about. So we're going to have to leave it there.
Thank you very much for
my pleasure. We're going to have to leave it there. That's our program today. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye bye for now.